Welcome back everybody, Carmen here with Fresh Cut Flower Farm. I am growing in Zone 6B here in the Missouri Ozarks, and it has been a hot minute since I have made a video, and for no particular reason other than I have been hot, sweaty, and tired, and I just have not made any videos because I haven't had the time or the energy for it. So let me get you caught up on what the flowers are looking like right now, kind of where I'm at in the season. Today is Labor Day, to give you a time reference. And as you'll see, I'm kind of buttoning up the season. And then we'll talk about why I am not doing any fall planting this year and give you a little bit of a sneak peek of what 2023 is going to look like for me. So let's have a look around. Okay, so just a refresher, this area here is kind of my main growing area, and then I have the 3 raised beds back there. They are 4x12s, and then over here is another area that I grow in. On this side I've got three rows that are 3 foot by about 45 foot long. And over here I have 6 rows that are 3 foot by, say, 35 feet long. My zinnias are still producing quite well, and I'm taking those to market every week. Got some gomphrena. The gomphrena is doing well. The ageratum is doing well. And it's only been in the past couple of weeks that I have gotten the dahlias. They are really late this year. Now, so far the main ones that I have gotten is the Crichton Honey. That one right there, that is the Crichton Honey. And the Great Silence. If you're not growing Great Silence, you need to add it to your list for next year. I mean, look at the stems on these, and they're good, strong stems. And they're a beautiful flower. I come out and cut a bunch today just to have in my house. So I want to go down here. This is Sweet Annie. This was my first year with Sweet Annie. I'm not impressed with it. I don't know, I just didn't really know what to do with it. Straw flowers, they always struggle for me. My celosia struggled. I had lots of struggles this year. It was just seemed like a really weird year. So this was my last succession of sunflowers. I just got those out over the weekend. And then lemon basil. It just didn't do well for me. I mean, it looks nice. It just was too short. Cinnamon basil, that's good old reliable cinnamon basil. You can always count on cinnamon basil. Ageratum is another one that always does well. Statice, I harvested a little bit of the statice. And I'm going to get into what makes the cut for next year and what I am letting go and the reasons behind it that are specific to me and how I am going to be growing moving forward. This is the second flush of Lisianthus. This is the Roseanne Green. Over here we have the Corelli 2 White. And then here we have, I never can remember the name of this one. I'll put it up on the screen. I think it's maybe Advantage Cherry Rose, but I'll put it on the screen. So that pretty well has you caught up to where I'm at right now. I will finish the season with sunflowers, zinnias, basil, ageratum, and dahlias. That's how I'll finish my season off, with a few, probably some gomphrena, and maybe a few straw flowers might eke through. But I've definitely changed the way I'm selling, and I'll share that with you. And so maybe you can get an idea of my thinking going forward and how I plan to completely changed the way I do things for 2023. And okay, so let's talk about cool flowers, cold hardy annuals, fall planting. Okay, so let's talk about fall planting. But first, let's talk about dahlias. This is the Great Silence that I mentioned earlier. You've got to grow this one. Put it on your list. Here we have a Linda's Baby. That's the first one of those that I have. And here, I believe this is the Cornell Bronze. I made a map of all my dahlias because every time I label anything out in the garden, my labels just get drug off by something. But I'm pretty sure it's either the Crichton Honey or the Cornell Bronze, and I'm pretty sure it's the Cornell Bronze. And this is supposed to be Cafe au Lait. It was labeled wrong. I got a email from the place that I bought it from, and so I've got to contact them and see what I've got to do. The best I can tell, it's kind of looking like all of my other ones that are supposed to be Cafe au Laits are going to look like that. And this one, these purple ones, these are just some old tubers that I had for the past few years, and I honestly don't know what they are, but they're pretty. Okay, so let's talk about fall planting and why I'm not doing it this year. I did a couple of videos ago about my experience with fall planting, what worked well for me, uncovered, and I totally stand behind that. It was a great experiment that I did, so definitely watch that video if you kind of want to do the lazy man's guide to overwintering cold hardy annuals in Zone 6B. Watch that video. And it really has nothing to do with that. It has more to do with the timing issue that I experienced at the beginning of the season. Like my Bupleurum did fabulous, but all I had was Bupleurum. I had nothing else. And then I had Bee Balm, looked wonderful, but I had nothing else. And then I had some Larkspur and that I was able to mix in there. Some Dianthus. I had no focal flowers. For one, I'm not going to do tulips or daffodils. I've not grown them in the past, but it's my understanding that you need to be right there on top of that, cutting those flowers or pulling them out because you want the bulb attached for your tulips right at the perfect time. I'm not home to do that. So tulips are out. And, you know, they can be an investment. And you might think, well, okay, I paid 50 cents for a bulb and I can get $2 or $3. Well, that's a profit. Yes, it is, but that's only on the ones that you sell. Are you selling all of them? You know, you got to count what you don't sell as much as what you do sell. So, you know, that's just where my mind goes with it. So because of that, it just, you know, my flowers, they just didn't pop with those cold hardy annuals. And the snapdragons that I overwintered, the few that survived, and then the ones that I planted early spring, they all essentially bloomed at the same time. I think I will do snapdragons for early in the season. Those will probably be the only cold hardy annual that I do, but I'll spring plant those. I'm not going to fall plant them. So over the fall and winter, my beds are just going to rest. That's why I'm not doing any fall planting, because I just feel like the money that I can make during the warm season annuals just far outweighs those cold hardy annuals. And for even though I'm not looking to quit my job and do this full time. I have no intention of doing that. This is just a side hustle for me. It still needs to be worth my time to some extent. You know, this is hard work and lots of sweat And yeah, even though it's not going to fund my retirement in any way, shape, or form, I mean, I do love growing flowers, but I don't, it costs money to do this, and I just want it to be worth my time. And if I can make more money during just doing the summer flowers, why wouldn't I do that? Right? And then during the spring, I can focus. I've had to pretty much let my landscape go, which bugs me. Now, I do the farmer's market. That I have decided that farmer's market is my space. Okay, that's what works for me at this season in my life. Now, after 2023, that might change. I'm not doing weddings. I mean, if someone called me and asked for some flowers, sure, if I've got them, that's fine. But I'm not growing for those special occasions. I am going to specifically grow for farmer's market. I'm going to perfect that. And so at my farmer's market, I started maybe the second Saturday in June, and really up until the end of June, 1st of July, the market wasn't busy. In our area, it seemed like people, until the vegetables start coming, the market is not that busy. And so I really my sales were not much. And so I decided that for the effort that it takes to grow these flowers, that it's in my best interest to time my flowers to start producing the end of June, 1st of July. So because of that, I'm not going to mess with cool flowers, which kind of saddens me. I wish I could do the shoulder seasons, do spring and then do fall, just because of the heat. I'm no spring chicken. I'm 52 years old, and I have had some physical issues this year that I've never had before. I'm a healthy 52-year-old. I don't take medicine. I'm in good health. But this year I had terrible back pain. I've never had that before, and I know it was from the flowers. And the only way to relieve it was to not work outside. I mean, I just couldn't do it. I got to where I couldn't even hardly roll over at night in bed or turn around or anything. And so, I'm forced to make decisions based on my health, because for me, my health is more important than the flowers. And so, how can I work this together? And as I've mentioned in other videos, I've had a couple of very special people that have come into my life over the summer, and I just love them so much. And I want to be in a position to where if my daughter or daughter-in-law calls me on a Saturday morning as I'm packing up to go to the market, and they say, "Hey, can you watch the baby today?" I'm going to say, absolutely, and I'm going to unpack all of my stuff, and I'm going to go get my babies. That's where I'm at in my life, and I want that flexibility. Oh, okay. Here's the big thing. Here's what I have learned. I no longer do bouquets. I do a bouquet bar. That's what I do at the market. I take my flowers, I set them up, and people come and they just build their bouquets. And it has went over very, very well. Very happy with it. If that's not what you're doing, maybe try it. I don't know. The reason I didn't do it in the beginning was because I thought that I would just be too busy to do it. And there have been a few times where I've had a couple of people lined up there, and it's okay. They wait patiently till I get to them. But I feel like people spend more money doing it that way, and people that would not have bought flowers knowing they can maybe just buy one sunflower or 3 zinnias. That's, yeah, it's not much money, but it's money that they would not have spent otherwise. I think, I could be wrong, but I feel like my sales are better doing it that way, and I make more money on the flowers, because what I've noticed for me, what I do is, like, I'll make up a bouquet, and say I'm doing a $10 bouquet, and I'll put $10 worth of flowers in it. But then I think, well, that doesn't look, I don't think anyone would pay $10 for that, so I'll add another flower or two in there. And, it seems like it's not much, but that adds up. And so it's just working out very well for me. I'm not stressed trying to make bouquets. I'm not using supplies in those bouquets that maybe those bouquets don't sell, because I don't always sell out, and you shouldn't sell out. You need to have enough flowers that you don't sell out. So I'm not using supplies that eventually end up in my trash because I didn't sell a bouquet. So I think and people they just love that experience of coming and making their own bouquet. And I'm getting some regulars. They just come every week or two and they do their bouquet, and they enjoy the experience of it. So I think it's definitely maybe something to put in your back pocket. Try it, see if it works for you. If it don't, make your bouquets. We all need to do what works for ourselves. So, and I'm going to do a video on, I am really, really, really paring down on what I'm growing, as in only a handful of flowers, because as I have done this build a bouquet, that's what I call it when I put it on Facebook, and build a bouquet, just observing what people are drawn to, what they're picking out, the colors that they're picking out. And so with that in mind, that will guide what I grow next year. There's going to be a lot of things that I will not be growing next year. And another reason why I'm paring down my list is because, as you've seen earlier in the video, I get up at 4:30 before I go to work, and I'll harvest for 30 to 45 minutes. And so, because I have found that the flowers just look better when you harvest them in the morning. And I think we know that. We know it's better to harvest in the morning because the flowers are better hydrated. And it's just, of course, temperature-wise, it's much easier on me to harvest in the morning than it is in the evening, because it does get so hot. In the summer, we're still 8 o'clock at night. It's still 90 degrees here. So, I totally lost my train of thought. Where was I going with that? This is what happens when you ramble. When you're 52, you just never get back on track. Where was I? I don't know. Maybe I'll figure it out. I know I was talking about bouquet bars and people building their bouquet. Oh, okay. Paring down. Okay, so now I know where I was. Okay, so because I'm only harvesting like 30 to 45 minutes, and I'm usually doing that maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It just depends, when I look out what I have. But I want flowers that are easy to harvest and that make a statement and that are prolific. I get a lot of bang for my buck. And so things like Gomphrena, while, yeah, it's a great little flower, it's just doesn't have an impact when people are building their bouquets, okay? So, and I'll get more into that when I do a video about what I'm growing and what I'm cutting out. So just be on the lookout for that. So anyway, I just want to give you all an update of where I'm at. I know I've rambled a lot in this video. I guess because I wanted to, I don't know. I guess because I haven't made one in so long, I felt like there was a lot to say. So anyway, okay, so that's it for this video. Like I said, I think the next one that I do, I will talk about what I'm growing. So, okay, well, that's it, and I'll see you next time. Bye.